So without further ado, please welcome Morgan Burke.
I don't know about you, but those of you who've been stuck up in this part of the country all winter, it's time for summer. I don't know if I've ever been through anything like this. It's miserable. I wanted to, again, thank you for your support of everything you do here. Yesterday was kind of a fun day. We won baseball in 11th inning. We won softball 1-0. Tennis, men's tennis upset at Penn State. It's now going to play for the Big Ten championship against Ohio State on Sunday, and the women beat Penn State over at Penn State. So we got maybe a little book momentum going in our favor. We're a little happier around that. So anyway, what I want to do with you today in about 20 minutes or so is just give you an update on work towards a feasibility study. And I'll try to lay out the kind of the timeline. This is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. For those of you who remember our Magna Arena project, we're probably about 2005. Remember, we finished well, we were closer to 2008, we finished in 2011. I'm going to present some concepts to you today that have been worked on for about a year to give you a sense. Part of why we're doing this, and I've met this group, I've done about 3 or 4 other groups, is to begin to get feedback. So don't look at anything that I'm going to lay out 3 principal objectives. Those probably won't change. But if you remember, when we started with some of the preliminary drawings in Magna Arena, by the time we got done, it looked a little different. So you'll see the opportunity to provide feedback. But I think you'll also get a sense of what we're trying to accomplish, and also give you a sense that there are opportunities for continued growth down the road. But one thing I will address right off the bat is I've had a lot of people who are really concerned that we don't have lights in the stadium. And all I can tell you is part of this project, because I anticipate in the next round of television negotiations, which will commence probably in about a year and become effective in 2017, we're likely to see more night games. Now, more night games, maybe 1 or 2 a year, which is about what we have had over the last 10 years. But I'm not going to specifically reference that, but I will tell you we'll look at options as part of this project to see what can be done. The issue of lights is not one so much of the cost of the poles, it's getting the power to the stadium to drive the lights. That's the issue. And it's about a $3 million price tag, so you just got to decide whether that's the right priority, or do you work with Musco and do what we've done in the past, which has been pretty effective. But we will look at that as part of the effort. I hope those of you in the back, if you can't see, you want to come up, there's a few seats over here, and I'll try to go through this as quickly as I can. 3 major drivers for the project. One, kind of boring stuff, we do need to do some maintenance. The last time we did something in this stadium, you remember when we finished? 2003. It's 2014. So this building is something that needs attention probably every 10 or 15 years. So there are some things that we need to do. As you walk around the perimeter of the stadium and you look at the steel underside, we've got to sandblast that paint. It's kind of a nasty job that needs to be done. We also have some concrete in the southeast and southwest corners of the stadium as you come down the hill that also need to be replaced. It's not life safety, so don't worry. We have seats in the southeast and southwest corners. You're not going to fall into the ground. But we know that it's something on the critical count that needs to be accomplished. The second thing is our stadium seating is not aligned with demand. We have too many bad seats and not enough good seats. And so we want to take that into account. The third one is the technology today that we have is nearing the end of its useful life. Those of you who've ever been in the south end zone, or if your seats are towards that part of the stadium, it's terrible. We have sent so much noise up to get it up to the north side, it's almost deafening to the people who are in the south end zone. And there is technology. We were fortunate enough to be able to see it when we were down or up at East Lansing last year. They have new technology that will actually allow you to keep the speakers in the south end zone, but through the computers and the upgrades and equipment, it almost sounds like surround sound. So it will make a huge, huge difference to what we're trying to accomplish. The scoreboard also, and believe it or not, remember, we were the first university in 1997 rather, to have a video board. And you're on your second generation board that we put in 2007. It's getting near the end of its useful life, which is good because the equipment that's available today is high definition. It's more rectangular than square. And you'll see that we'll put some emphasis on that area as we move forward. So those are the three major drivers. And I want to pinpoint one other. Across the United States, whether it be collegiate or pro, there's a missing segment in that stadium for everybody. And that's the 25 to 35-year-old age group. And we've got to find some ways to put together some options that will be attractive to them. So we're going to keep that in mind as we go down the road. So those are the three principal drivers. Listen, you won't be able to necessarily see this, and it's too bad because it kind of gives you a chronology of the stadium. It's kind of fun. It tells you from the time the stadium opened up until today what it's been accomplished. And you'll note that the bleachers in the south end zone were put in 1970. Those bleachers were from Lambert Fieldhouse. Now they've been refurbished a bit, but they've reached the end of their useful life. They've done a great job for us for probably 80 years, but it's time that they be replaced. So anyways, we set out to do this. We said we wanted the objectives for this study were to address the pending maintenance items, improve fan experience for everybody, look at the revenue, because as you have those holes in the stadium, you end up discounting tickets at a much greater rate than you'd like to. And you want to review and update the stadium master plan, which you remember has 3 phases. We want to make sure that whatever we do doesn't design us into a corner, so that future generations have options available to them that you don't inadvertently screw up. We also want to incorporate and have people, campus involved, looking at future parking needs on north end of the campus. We started back in January. HMTV did the initial work on the stadium, worked with us on this, and actually the good news was the architects were principally involved in developing the master plan, worked on this particular effort. And that was very helpful to us because they had familiarity with the footprint of the stadium. We had a number of different people involved, and we actually literally went through half a dozen or so options before we landed on a hybrid. Again, a hybrid is the concept. So again, the actual house may look a little different when it's built, but you get a sense for what we're looking at. That work was completed in the summer months, and actually had an opportunity to brief Mitch and the board, give a sense for what we were looking at. We did that in December. And then the one piece of the feasibility study that has not been done yet, one of the reasons I kind of waited till right now to begin to talk about it, is we haven't finished the market survey. And it's one thing to come up with something on a piece of paper. You better find out whether the marketplace is really interested in what you're talking about. That particular effort is underway right now. Ben Kuhn from the Nancy staff is leading that effort. We're using the same firm that helped us with the stadium and in Mackey Arena in terms of assessing the market interest. You can expect sometime in the next 6-8 weeks, you may get an email ping from us asking you to fill out a short survey. If you do that, I would appreciate it. And I think we're really going to try to make sure that we get a good stratified sample of each generation so that we're mindful of the needs and wants of each and every group. So the final report, if you will not be probably ready until the summer, sometime after we do the market survey. And I want to use this period of time between now and say Christmas time to begin to get people better educated on what we're trying to accomplish and make sure we can adjust to the needs of the marketplace. Okay. I'm just going to show you the pictures and talk you through it. The first thing that's going to happen is we will demolish the grandstands. They will come down in the south end zone. The second piece, again, go off when we start the project. It's not right now. This is all future statements. I'll give you an idea of how long it takes from the time the board would give us a green light until we would be done. I'll tell you that at the end. But I'm just going to try to show you pictures, but I think it's easier for you to see the pictures than it is the verbiage. So the state, that comes down. This right here is kind of an artist's rendition of the south end zone. Now, this space in here looks a lot bigger than it actually is. We've had some people who've done some renditions, thought it would be clever, and I agree with it. They have some training tunnels here. Some of you have seen that. The problem with, go through your engineers and understand that because of the width of our lavatories, we have inclement weather, which we've had from time to time with that MDS stadium. The people from the lavatories down to the field come down to the field and go out those two entrances, or two exits, the southeast and southwest. People above the lavatories come down and go out. If we had to increase the throughput of those lavatories, you might as well start stadium over again. So we're going to always need the ability to have sufficient capacity to move people out of the stadium for safety reasons. So that's why it's not there. But what you can't necessarily see from back there is there are two train bridges that will connect the stadium. So you will now have 360 circulation around the stadium, which we have not had in the past. And the other thing I would share with you is we have a lot of people who have some great ideas on how to decorate the house. I'm just trying to figure out how to build it. I hope, from this building to Mackey, hopefully you understand we'll take good care, make sure the professionals are involved in creating the themes and whatnot that tie things together. I mean, I've had people have great ideas. We put a glass garage and we'll make a special house down there and bring it out on game. Yes, all those things are possible. We're not quite there at that stage. This facility right here, I like to use the reference to Wrigley Field. I don't know how many of you have ever been in the terrace seating up at Wrigley Field, but that's kind of the idea that people have. You have a club space down below, you have a little plaza that would be out in front of the area right here, and a rather large space in front of the scoreboard, which I think you'll be able to eventually bring some of your pre-game activities that we now have over closer to the arena, closer to the stadium. I think that will be kind of a nice thing to do. This video board, if I have my druthers, will be 1 centimeter bigger than Texas A&M. and if not, will I just like to drum and say we got it? It is a huge structure. And it will be rectangular. It basically is the width of the field. So, and the other thing that it's hard to see from this perspective is this particular structure moves up about 15 or 20 feet. It will make you feel like the stadium is enclosed when it's all said and done. And the height of the board will be very similar to the height of this building. So it'll start to create a little bit more symmetry around the stadium. Repair, stadium, maintenance stuff. End zone club, the new bridges that I mentioned. You have plaza out in front. The seating again will vary. It could be bench seating. It could be bleacher seating. It could be chairback seating. Or it could be tailgate seating. There's all array of options that we'll look at down there. But again, the intent is to try to introduce a different type, different area that we already have in the stadium. We're not trying to replicate Shively, not trying to replicate Buchanan, and we probably are going to try to zero in on that 25 to 35. But those of you who are over 35 like me, you're young at heart, you're welcome as well. You know, but we've done a few focus groups. I had the Ross Ade Brigade, the kids who are seniors, one of the first focus groups I did this with. They were pretty excited. I mean, they could see that, you know, I'm up in Chicago, my buddies in Louisville, we want to come back for a game. There's a place for us to meet and group and be together. So there was some excitement about this. This is a rendition of California Berkeley. Berkeley just recently renovated their stadium. Just trying to give you an idea of what you might do in the interior. Again, the viewing habits of the 25 to 35 age group, they've got their face in the phones as much as they do on the field. So it's a different segment, and I don't think anybody really across the country has figured out the right solution in this area. We want to benchmark and figure that out as we go along. I can tell you, by this fall, you will have complete cellular coverage in the stadium. It's not Wi-Fi yet, so hang on there. Cellular coverage, you should not have any phone drop. We work with campus and with a group called Paramount Castle. It won't make any difference whether you're AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, it won't make any difference. And that should be up and ready for the fall, and then we move it back to the arena during the basketball season. It should be ready in there as well. It's not, talk to Steve. So anyway, it's an open air space. I think there'd be a whole bunch of different things in there. I point this slide out from the other side to give you a sense. I don't think when you come up to the stadium in the south, it looks very good. I think it looks much better when you come from the north. So we're going to spend some time trying to make sure that this area is more suitably landscaped. We also work with with the university to say, if you wanted to put a parking garage on this end, you already have a hillside right here. So the parking lot can go in there if you were so inclined without being intrusive. So we want, at least it's in the design to be done if the university felt that it was prudent to do so. Up at the north end of the stadium, you'll see a second video board. That board will be about the size of this one in terms of the screen itself. I just don't think it makes sense in this day and age if the action's going to the north that you have to turn around to the south to see the replay. I just think things have changed to the point where most of your stadiums today would have two video boards. We also intend to put a ribbon board around the north portion of the horseshoe so we can stroll stores and I want to try to minimize the clutter on the board. And I've heard that loud and clear from people that you can't get the stats, you're always doing advertising, and you know you got to do some marketing, but it's kind of getting in the way of the game. If we have enough inventory between the two boards and a ribbon board, I think we can minimize the impact on that. So I think that would be an attractive option. There's actually, as these bridges come along, a rather large club roof terrace. I can see it could be the marching band playing for the game, which we're doing the 211 sessions in the stadium now. It could be just live music before the game. But that is a really large plaza area. The club space alone will probably have capacity for over 1,000 people. So it's a large space that we'll be able to use. Well, I think we'll be able to do some fun things before the game that we haven't been able to do in the past, close to the stadium. Now, I've done this just to try to give you a sense. I don't think we need to give up on having the deck on the east side. I just think you have to do it sequentially and then decide at a subsequent time whether you think the deck on the east side makes sense. If you go in that direction down the road, what would happen is, in effect, you would have replaced the 7,500 seats in the south end zone with this new seating option and about 6,000 seats on the east side. And that probably would put you back in the 64,000 range. Again, I think we have to be mindful of viewing patterns. I think TV has hit the tipping point, where people can sit at BW3s and watch 6 screens simultaneously. You better be doing something inside your venue. A, play very exciting football, we understand that. But B, make the event something that people want to, they want to be at, they don't want to miss. So, I'm not trying to turn into Barnum and Bailey, but I do think as norms change, we've got to change as well. But if you did that, I think you would find that this stadium, from the east side to the west side to the scoreboard, would all be the same height. And I think, again, it would give you a structure that would lead you into the 21st century a little further. So we haven't designed ourselves to the point where we can't do that option at a point in time. I mean, there's still room to do the deck on the coach horseshoe if you ever felt that was needed. So to me, it was important to make sure that we didn't do something that would cut off future generations and their options for the stadium.